countdown once again. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, where I like to discuss politics. And I had to delete my last video because it was either The View or YouTube, I don't know which one, interfere with my commentary and took down the video stream that I was sharing for information. I got censored either by The View or by YouTube. So I have to go and this is why I get nervous about putting up sharing streams, because it seems like again, independent voices get silenced. So this is why you hear me bitch and moan about censorship and why censorship is cancer, it's toxic. Censorship sucks because I just got silence. Fuck YouTube. Fuck The View. So let me get started here. The View, you know where I stand. The View is cancer. I hate The View for obvious reasons. And because, I mean, they're basically the liberal version of Fox and Friends. You got Fox and Friends on the right. You got The View, who are corporate Democrats. Both equally toxic, both equally sucks. Now let's talk about Tara Sethmayer, who's one of the panelists on The View. She's a Republican-leaning independent. Strike one. This is why liberals and progressives worth their mustard should not trust a lot of these never-Trumper Republicans who decided that they're either Democrats or they're just not going to support Donald Trump anymore or what have you. You got to look at them with suspicion. And I looked at, and pretty much I look at most never Trumpers, even though I'm no fan of Trump. I don't want it to be construed that way. But never Trumpers are not your friends, Democrats. They're not your friends. They're willing to put up with a woke version of what George W. Bush presented to us during his time in power. Now, Seth Meyers was talking about AOC and complaining that this country is not a center-left country. She says this country is not a left-center country, and that basically the Democrats must govern from the center. And I say that's why that the Democrats are in the mess they're in. They have done that since the days of Bill Clinton, and it is an absolute and utter failure. A total failure, 100%. So there is that. And then she starts talking about, things like from Build Back Better that was so supposedly radical when it's basically just traditional New Deal liberalism in a modern context. That's what it is. But right now there is a narrative being popularized by the Republicans and the right, and the Democrats cater to that position. And that is that traditional liberalism in the form of the New Deal, FDR's New Deal, or LBJ's Great Society is somehow super woke and politically correct. And at the same time, you have dumbasses like Beto O'Rourke running for governor, campaigning on shit like, I'm going to take away your AR-15. He might as well just thank Governor Greg Abbott for getting elected in a few months. So, yeah, AOC is talking about a bloodbath, and I have my issues with AOC, but AOC is not incorrect in her analysis that the Democrats are going to suffer in November. She is incorrect for not supporting Christian Small's effort with the American Labor Union in regard to unionizing of Amazon and Staten Island. So there is that. And so anyway, so as I said, she's wrong. I'm talking about Tara Sethmayer. Now, let's talk about another panelist that's on The View. Let me find her real quick. And that is Sunny Hostin. And she basically, her response was a little bit better. I don't know much about her. I don't think she's a Justice Democrat style Democrat, but I also don't think she's a corporate Democrat. But Sunny Hostin seems to be in the center of the Democratic Party, or what is defined as the center. Her position was mildly better than Tara Sethmayer, and basically she is correct about the core Democratic values. If properly implemented, it's good for everyone. It's good for the Democratic base, it's good for Republicans, it's good for everybody. And we're talking about things like paid maternity leave, minimum wage, free college. This is not extreme radical politics right here. I mean, you take, for example, what she said is being true, because down in Florida, the state where Governor Ron DeSantis, one of the biggest scumbags that's governor in this country, and a very strongly Republican-leaning state that voted for Donald Trump in 2020. On the state ballot, there was a referendum to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. In spite of having Ron DeSantis as their governor, in spite of the censorship against schools and for supposedly saying the word gay being a terrible thing, whatever, that's censorship by the right, by the way. In spite of that, in spite of Florida voting for Donald Trump, they voted in favor of a $15 an hour minimum wage. The people of Florida, probably the majority of the people that voted for the $15 an hour minimum wage were Biden supporters and people who would have voted Green or whatever other political party, possibly. But there was a chunk of Republicans that voted for a $15 an hour minimum wage too. And the Democrats do not seem to want to convince Republican-leaning voters that voting Republican is bad for their economic self-interest. It seems like the Democrats do not learn their lessons. And all you have to do is take a look at economics. And I know I'm not necessarily arguing for class reductionism. I mean, I'm socially progressive. I am a civil libertarian. But sadly, in the year 2022, in the 1980s and 1990s, I was too woke for the Christian right. They still think I'm woke. And now the Christian right of today, which is the regressive left, they don't think I'm woke enough because, again, I'm a civil libertarian. So there is that. There is that. Now, with regard to, let me clear my throat here. With regard to, hold tight here. Let me find her. Joy Behar. Now, as I said, I despise this program, The View. I think it's toxic. I think it's cancer in many, many, many ways. But having that said, if I had to tolerate anybody from The View, it would be Joy Behar. She's the only person that comes closest to where she embracing a position that I can kind of see her take and share what she has to say. And she talked about messaging, that Joe Biden has a problem with messaging. Well, here's what happened. There is probably a problem with messaging. Remember, Joe Biden said there will be no fundamental changes, and he certainly kept his promise, for damn sure. Well, then my advice, Willie Bragg's advice to Joe Biden, and I'm going to do this and try not to sound like Kyle Kulinski, although you probably hear it on the Kyle Kulinski show, to do what it takes by executive order, which means pot legalization. Go ahead, legalize marijuana. Make marijuana legal in all 50 states. I want to make cannabis lasagna in North Carolina. I can't do it right now because I have a police officer that lives next door to me. He seems like a nice guy. His wife seems nice. But if I bake a cannabis lasagna, my ass would go to a Johnson County jail. So I can't go and bake cannabis lasagna because it's still legal in North Carolina. Joe Biden needs to legalize marijuana. He would not just appeal to his left-wing base that were loyal to him in 2020, he'll also win over libertarian-leaning Republicans and libertarians in general, because there's one area where the lefties and the libertarians in whatever stripe can agree on is that marijuana needs to be legalized. By executive order, student debt forgiveness. And students exist in all shades of color. They exist in all shades of economics, all sexual orientations, all genders. You go and forgive student debt. Let me tell you what that's going to do. You're going to have the young basically happy with Joe Biden because their economic situation is going to improve. They get out of college. They don't have to worry about paying $200,000 worth of college debt. And they can go and invest in buying a new car, buying a house, and enjoying that middle-class dream. Joe Biden is a fool for not signing an executive order forgiving student debt. Oh, it's going to cost money. We're spending money trying to start World War III with Russia right now because Hillary Clinton got her feelings hurt because she thinks that Vladimir Putin was the reason Donald Trump got elected. Fuck Hillary Clinton. You go ahead and forgive student debt. Lower Medicare age eligibility, not to just 60, but lower it down to 55 or 50. I personally even don't think Medicare for all goes far enough. I wish we could have fucking socialized medicine like they have in Great Britain, a national health service. But if we're going to be with pragmatic politics, by executive order, Joe Biden can go, and especially in this age of COVID, can lower Medicare eligibility down to 60 or 55 or 50. He will be popular if he did that. And for the government to negotiate for lower drug prices for Medicare for our seniors. He could do that by executive order. It's so fucking easy what he can do. And the Democrats don't know what to do, which is easy. So, I mean, in that regard, Joy Behar is correct about messaging. And messaging is what needs to be done. It really needs to be done. But, this is what we have to deal with in this country. A lot of stupidity, a lot of common sense being totally abandoned. And I really wish I could have my videos so I can, context would be better. But anyway, now Whoopi Goldberg. I'm going to tell you, I used to kind of like Whoopi Goldberg as an actress. She can be funny. I've seen her work in the past. I mean, I grew up, liking Whoopi Goldberg. I got tired of her complaining about supposed progressives as if they're the problems. And so she talks about people not giving Joe Biden enough support. Listen, I would rather be a cheerleader for Joe Biden than to fight independently. It will make my life easier. I mean, I wouldn't even have to do this channel if Joe Biden would govern more like a traditional Democrat instead of a failed 1990 style Democrat, Bill Clinton Democrat. Now, some people are going to tell me, "Oh, wait, are you talking about Bill Clinton got elected in 1992 and 1996? It's obvious that moving towards center works." No, it doesn't. Let me refresh everybody's history about 1992, because I was there in 1992. I remember 1992. I was 23 years old, but I remember 1992 very well. You want to know why Bill Clinton won the 1992 election and won the 1996 election? It was not because he rebranded himself as a new Democrat or a corporate Democrat, or the Democratic Leadership Council, that horrible path toward the center, where it was the Democrats were like, "Oh, we favor the death penalty now. We everything that the Republicans are for, we're for it too. We're just for a softer version of it." And so basically, Bill Clinton took the Ronald Reagan, George Herbert Walker brand and softened it and gave it to the American people. And it's not that the American people voted for a kinder, gentler version of Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush. What happened was that H. Ross Perot came into the race and got disaffected Republicans to vote for him instead of George Herbert Walker Bush. And that's what gave the advantage to Bill Clinton in 1992 to win. And I would have been grateful to H. Ross Perot if we would have had a second FDR New Deal out of Bill Clinton instead of warmed over Reaganomics in a woke package. And that's all Bill Clinton delivered to us. And what did the Bill Clinton presidency do for 8 years? It gave us welfare reform instead of a jobs program. It gave incarceration of African Americans needlessly. I mean, because they wanted to prove they're tough on crime, so they didn't mind singling out African Americans more than the rest of the population. With that crime bill that Joe Biden was an architect of, the crime bill of 1994, a lot of people call it the Joe Biden crime bill. One of the reasons why I did not vote for Joe Biden in 2020, I voted for Howie Hawkins of the Green Party. But the point is that Bill Clinton also sat there and abolished Glass-Steagall. And abolishing Glass-Steagall was the reason why we had the 2007-2008 housing crisis bubble. And the thing about it is that the corporate Democrats, the Democratic Leadership Council, the Bill and Hillary Clinton's path of being toward the center, you think that that's going to make the Republicans love you? No. All they're going to do is they're going to, what happened during Bill Clinton is Bill Clinton was president. Newt Gingrich unzipped his cock, and Bill Clinton gave Newt Gingrich a blowjob. And instead of saying thank you, Newt Gingrich just jizzed on his face. That's what he did. And, for some reason, they think that this works. Democrats, 1996, same thing as 1992. H. Ross Perot was a factor. And enough votes were siphoned away from votes that would have likely gone to Bob Dole. That's why Bill Clinton won. If there was no Ross Perot, the Democratic Party would not have been governing in the 1990s at all. Or in 1996, the Democrats could have made a comeback if George Herbert Walker Bush won a second term. So that's what happened. I have to go and speak truth to power in that regard. But let me say this. Tara Sethmayer was talking about infrastructure being a success. He even got Mitch McConnell to get his support. Any bill that the Democrats are proposing, or any bill in general that has the support of Mitch McConnell, is a bill that's going to be bad on its own, because anything that Mitch McConnell is going to favor will not sufficiently solve our problems, or will actively harm American workers and bolster corporations and give us more crony capitalism. So that is a weak argument right there about infrastructure. And they are complaining about the progressives whining and all that. No, fuck that. The View gave a very terrible analysis of everything, as they normally do. So let me conclude with talking about AOC for a moment here. And it's this. AOC, I'm happy for her that she's happy about Amazon in Staten Island becoming unionized, but she does not get credit for it. I'm going to keep saying it like it is. I hope that AOC will stop being a drama queen and just being a needless culture warrior, and combining that with drama, and be more mature and be a true democratic socialist or social democrat. Be like you're an MP in the British Labour Party, or you're a member of the German Social Democratic Party in their Reichstag, or the French Socialist Party in the National Assembly, or a parliamentary member in Canada for the New Democratic Party. Be that. Stop being a little drama queen and mean girling everybody about stuff, and be what you were saying you were going to be in 2018, instead of turning into the next Nancy Pelosi. And so, no respect for her right now. I'm very angry with her. She is correct that the Democrats are going to get slaughtered. She had that much wisdom about her, but it's a little bit too late since she and other members of the squad decided not to go with forced to vote. That's till she speaks volumes right there. It really speaks volume. So anyway, that's my spiel right now. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, comment anyway. Share this content. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And remember, we need to wage class warfare. And until next time, we're all Julian Assange.